Welcome to this week of July 15th until the 21st, the forecast, what you can expect with the intense energies that we have coming during this week. Look, my main message this week is be careful, be cautious, tread lightly, take your time, and slow down. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let's dive into this. Okay, give me just one moment. Here we go. And then I'm going to make it bigger. Okay. All right. So here we go. We're going to begin with Monday, July 15th. A lot of what I'm going to talk about will be influencing the rest of the week, and I will let you know, in the following days, like the subtle changes and shifts that we're going to be going through. But know that this is very active. There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of, sudden like uprisings, emotionally as well. So this is a time to just really slow down as best as you can so that we do not deal with any harm. So, on this day in particular, on Monday, July 15th, I'm gonna start with the obvious, most like prominent impactful energies that we're dealing with right now is you see this Mars and the red planet and Uranus. They are at the exact same degree, meaning that they're conjunct, they're together in the same degree in the sign of Taurus. Now, Mars has to do with violence and conflict and struggles and difficulty and hardship and pain and cutting, severing, things like that. And then you have Uranus, which is very sudden changes, sudden like upsets, sudden uproars too. And this is about evolution of, where we're at. It's not really fun all the time, but it's important. And it's not always pretty and easy, but again, it's important. So what's happening here is we have these two very intense planets that are fusing together, coming together. And so then we're going to have like these, sudden, like energetic, explosive moments, surprises. These are things you can't plan for. So this is a time to, not do risky things, don't do dangerous things, don't go in dangerous neighborhoods. Basically, you want to reduce the possibility of something bad happening. So don't work with like powerful tools that are dangerous to use, for example. Save that for another time. Actually, don't do that this whole week because that conjunction, it is at its absolute peak today on Monday, but then you will notice, look, on Tuesday, they're going to be separating now. Mars is going to continue on. So now they're 1 degree apart. And then on Wednesday, they're going to be 1 degree. Tuesday, Thursday, they're going to be 2 degrees apart. So the thing is, it's still pretty close. Anything that's around like 8 to 10 degrees, that still has a pretty big impact. So definitely for the rest of this week, like basically, do chill, calm things if you can. I wouldn't do very, super like risky, death defying, like don't go bungee jumping, for example. Don't do anything that could potentially lead to harm. So save that for another season, another week, another time, but not this week. We may see some, violence, unfortunately, happening, explosions happening, sudden upsets. So pay attention to the news because this energy is very, very strong and very intense and surprising and unexpected and could lead to some danger, harm, and conflict. Okay. So that's the first thing I want to have you note. But let's talk about the other planets too, because while that's in the background all week, the sun is in Cancer. It's in our last week of Cancer. So this is it. This is the time where, as I've mentioned the last few forecasts, that it's a good time to have some, beautiful connections, gatherings, hang out with people you love, hang out with people who feel like family, hang out with your actual family, if obviously they are safe people to be with. So this is still a great time of connection and bonding. And we also, have Venus here in Leo in a fire sign and Mercury in a fire sign. And these two being here in Leo, there's going to be more exuberance and just heartfelt like emotions and wanting to share those emotions and having really like fun times together. This is a playful energy. So not only can you just, gather, but also maybe like do something really nice, do something very fun, not dangerous though, not dangerous, but something that is gentle, maybe like, like a bonfire kind of a thing where it's just a little extra. Because that's the thing with Leo. Leo likes a little bit more flair, a little bit more flamboyance, a little extra. So not just a simple at-home meal, but maybe you make it like a theme party, for example. So then everybody dresses up, or there's a theme of the potluck of what kind of dish to bring. So a little bit extra is what I'm recommending here when it comes to your fun and connection and gathering time. Let's do talk about the sun because the sun has a lot of activity. So here it's in Cancer. And remember, I like to talk about the aspects because that gives you more, just another layer, a texture to the types of energies that you're going to experience, not only with, that desire to bond and nest even and just feel comfortable in your home and with the important people that you care about deeply and having quality time in that way. But there's a lot of other conversations happening between the sun. And remember, these blue aspects that are trines, like the triangle or the sextile, these are going to be more positive ones, whereas the red ones have more challenge to them. So we do have a lot of positive, more or less positive aspects. We have one opposition to Pluto, but let's talk about the positives. We do have Moon trine I'm sorry, the Sun trine Mars. So that means that, Mars in its positive expression, as I did talk about the harm and the aggression and the conflict, but on a positive side of Mars is that it brings ambition and drive and willpower and just like energy and vitality to go after something. So you're going to have more energy this day. I mean, already you're going to be feeling the Uranus and that Mars conjunction I just talked about. But then now that, the sun's in communication with those, actually, it's both. It's both sextiling Uranus and Mars. You're going to really feel that in your body and you're going to feel the intensity of that. So, if you need to do something that requires some effort and energy, again, not dangerous, then I go for it. You're gonna have the capacity and the bandwidth to do so. We also have the sun in trine with Saturn. So here's Saturn, this red H with the line over it, and you have this blue line. So it's a triangle, a trine. So that's a really nice conversation happening with taking care of responsibilities, being very disciplined, having self-control, and just taking care of what is very important right now. Get some affairs in order, for example. So that's really nice for adulting. And then that's going to be happening till around Wednesday. We're going to have this conversation between Sun and Saturn till Wednesday. We also have the Sun trining Neptune. So Neptune is over here. So that's also, pretty much near Saturn here. And Neptune has to do with visualization and dreaming and imagination and creativity. So there's a little stimulation of that. Maybe even wanting to experience something a bit more spiritual too, like you want to explore spirituality a bit more. And then the one part that might be challenging, yet I feel is important right now in our season and cycle, is that Sun is in opposition to Pluto. I actually have this in my natal chart, this kind of setup where they're literally opposite to each other. And this is about facing some intense growth. There is pain here in terms of like dying of the ego, dying certain parts of ourselves so that a new version resurrects. So there could be some hard things that you're going to have to move through. But with this, like Mars and Uranus that I talked about, just being in the background, and it's also communicating with the sun and Pluto. We've been talking about evolution and change and reinvention this whole last month. And that conversation, as I said, continues all the way into November and December. I'll talk about that more in a second, but since that's happening, like now we keep getting like, hey, sweetheart, it's time to grow. It's time to like get out of the nest. Like you need to grow up and, in terms of our spirits, like maturing and evolving and stepping into a new version of ourselves. Like we keep getting this nudge over and over and over again from the stars. Like it just doesn't want to quit. It is so determined to make sure that you grow, evolve, and change. It's going to come at you from every which way. So if any of us thinks we can just kind of bob along in the same way that we used to before, we are very, very confused because that is just not going to happen. It's nearly impossible. Okay, so there is that. And fixing some broken things. Okay, fixing broken stuff too. Like if you've got some things to take care of it now. So that's the sun. Let's talk about the moon. So, just to add to more of this intensity, where is our moon at? Our moon is in Scorpio, which is a water sign, which feels deeply. This one, it's kind of like wind-tossed seas, storms internally. So not only externally, all this stuff is happening now, like our emotions are feeling the rockiness, it's feeling the waves, it's feeling the ups and downs as well. But this is all about that deep transformation that is being called from us, and happening for us as well. So moon is going to be more reflective here and being able to tap in. I mean, if you think about it, like the moon or the Pluto and sun is going to be able to touch the subconscious. It's going to touch like the destructive patterns that we hold on to. And then with the moon being here in Scorpio, we're going to be able to really reflect and see and have some insight and understanding and awareness as to, some of our old patternings that have been, well, yes, it could have been harmful, but also it could just be not relevant or useful any longer for what is needed of you today. So I like the wisdom and the insight and the understanding because the moon here in Scorpio is even more reflective than other signs. This isn't a water sign. So you're going to be able to see into yourself essentially a lot more clearly with this kind of arrangement that's happening. We do have moon that is in trine to Saturn. So remember, Saturn is about responsibilities and discipline and structure. So with this moon having a nice conversation with Saturn and trine, this means that not only are you insightful, right, with the moon in Scorpio, but there's this maturity and understanding why things have played out the way that they have and the way things need to be playing out moving forward. I mean, there's just so much wisdom and understanding, kind of like a wise old sage. That's the feel I get from Moon in Scorpio, and also having a good conversation with Saturn at the same time. So there's just a lot of sobering truths, a lot of sobering like reality. It's real talk. And it's not just intellectual anymore. You really have integrated and you feel it inside of your body as well. So I do like that aspect, despite like, all of the maybe the turmoil that's happening around us and then to us too. But at the same time, it's like you get it, you understand it, you respect it, just like how we respect the weather and the earth. Like we're going to respect a lion, we're going to respect the power of lion or the power of nature. Like it might not be fun, we might not enjoy hurricanes and tornadoes and storms and earthquakes and things, but we respect it and we understand its power. So there's a lot of that happening within us. Like some of us might be feeling like this earthquake shifting kind of movements in our lives. Okay, so let's move on. We talked about the moon. Let's talk about Mercury and Venus here. I mentioned how, like, here, this is going to make you a bit more exuberant, a bit more talkative, a bit more fun and playful. So add that little extra to your, experiences with your friends. Like, for example, go to an escape room game thing. I don't know, just random idea. Something a little different. Okay, there's gonna be a call for some different here. Now, Venus is trining the Neptune. So there's a bit more imagination and creativity and play here again. Um, we do have Venus in opposition also to Pluto, kind of like the sun is in opposition to Pluto. So there could be some tension in some of your relationships, some tension, some conflict, but they're gonna surface things that really do need to be talked about. Okay. And with your moon being so mature right now, with this issue with the Saturn or this conversation with Saturn, like you're gonna be able to handle some real talk, some hard talk if that's necessary, if that's called for in some of your relationships. Okay, so let's also talk about Mars here. I do want to point out that even Mars has a nice conversation with Pluto, trining Pluto. So this like deep transformation, sudden change, like it's even though it's hard, there's like a kind of endurance that's present. There's a strength and courage and power that's present in this transition. Like you just know it needs to be done. And it isn't that we are complaining about it. We're not obviously not enjoying some parts of it. It's not always fun, but we get it. We understand it. And so um there is this like you're digging down deep in all of the strength that you have and bringing it to the surface. You have access to this incredible endurance to get through this phase and cycle of life. And that's like I said, these intensities are going to be going in all the way until November and December. So keep that in mind. Well, actually, let's talk about that November, December timeframe. Until November 9th, we're gonna have this conversation between Pluto and Neptune. Okay, and this is a sextile. You see this blue line right here. Here's Pluto in the red, Neptune is in the blue. So Neptune helps to like shed that old skin, to help with dissolving what has passed. And so this letting go, that we're getting help. We're getting help to let go. You don't have to do it just like, oh, I need to let go of this. Like, no, it's happening. You are getting that dissolving of the expired, dissolving of the retired, dissolving of the old skin is happening. So that is going to be present with us until November 9th. And then the other one is the Uranus and Pluto trine. Remember, Uranus is that sudden change, sudden evolution. It's this breaking free. You might feel this sense of like you are wanting to liberate yourself, especially with that Mars Uranus together. But this is liberation. This is the phoenix rising from the ashes. This is breaking free from the old restrictions and the old ways. And now you are coming anew. And so Pluto packs a punch. It's a very powerful planet of transformation. Same with Uranus. That's electric. It's like lightning strikes. So between the two of them, this goes on until December 7th. Okay, December 7th. So whether we want to change or don't want to change, it doesn't matter. The change is happening. So let's just accept it and let's surrender to it and receive it because new life is going to emerge from this. And that's the whole point of Pluto, is to resurrect new life. Okay. Something better. That's the thing with Uranus and Pluto. It's about something way, way better. I'm not over here crying over the version of my phone that's like 20 years ago. Do I really want to play with that version? I mean, that's gonna annoy the heck out of me in today's world. So I let that go. I'm ready to move on. I mean, I have an older model still, but the phones of today work better for everyone and for us than the phone of 20 years ago. I think life would really suck if I had to go to the 20-year-old phone and everybody has moved on to the more recent phones and future models. So this is all for your greater good. Always remember that. Okay, so let's continue on. So I gave you kind of more or less a snapshot for the week, but we have some changes. Tuesday is also intense. All right. Remember, my whole recommendation is be careful, be cautious. Be careful, be cautious, because there is a ton of volatility happening between this Mars and Uranus conjunction. They are only 1 degree apart. So, Monday was the peak, but Tuesday, it's still there. We're still feeling it. So don't forget about that. So Sun had a lot happening on Monday. If we look back, there was a lot of aspects and conversations to the Sun. But today, on Tuesday, the Moon has a lot of conversation. Look at all the lines that are coming to the Moon: red lines, blue lines, all kinds of lines. And so Moon has to do with our emotional body, like it's our feelings. So our feelings might feel like it's ping-ponging all over the place. There's some positive things and there's some difficult things. So it's a little mixture of both. And so we have Moon. First off, we have the Moon in trine to Sun, which is really nice. It's kind of like being in harmony with our conscious self and our unconscious self. So that's a nice little good feeling here. We do have Moon square Mercury. So Mercury has to do with our conversation, our communication. So there might be some tension, some like feelings are overwhelming your logic as well. Maybe like friends are going to call just to complain to give you an idea. So not all communication is going to be really fun and flowy and easy. There's going to be some tension and maybe some irritability even with some of your conversations. We do have Moon in opposite Mars. So that Mars Uranus conjunction I've been talking about, that intense, explosive, effect of Mars and Uranus. Well, that's right in opposition. This is red line to the Moon. So maybe even on this day, you're gonna feel it even more, like the need to just go. You might want to like feel very independent and free and break away from something. This is a day you'll probably do something different, like break away from your natural routines. You're going to want to do something radically different, actually, or be in a different place, be in a different space, be around different people. So, and that's the thing that happens with Uranus, is that it wants something different. And then Mars gives you the energy to just go do it. You're not going to sit around like talking about it or thinking about it. You're just going to go do about it. Again, remember, please be safe. Okay. I don't think I can say that enough for this week. Okay. So that is the Moon. Moon also has a nice trine to Saturn. So with all of that intensity, we do have Saturn that gives us a little bit of structure and a little stability and a little just more calming nature. So hopefully, like this nice conversation with Saturn will be able to combat some of the other harder aspects that I just talked about, like the square to Mercury, as well as the opposition to the Mars and Uranus. So we will see what happens there. There is another nice aspect between the Moon and Neptune. Look how, I mean, they're really close to each other, the Neptune and Saturn. So they're both in trine with the Moon. And that brings a bit more like dreaminess, some fantasy, some imagination. So let's see how this plays out. Let me know in the comments below today how this plays out for you. Does it feel more like tense for you? Does it feel more like um impulsive and like acting very rashly, like or are you being more influenced by the Saturn and Neptune that gives you just a bit more just gentleness, ease, and groundedness as well? So we will see. We will see. You know, we're all different. Okay. Now, let me see if there's anything else worth mentioning. Nope, I think we're good there. So let's continue on to Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday is the 17th, and here our moon changes signs. So it does move away from the intensity of Scorpio and now goes into Sagittarius. And this is a fire sign. This one's going to bring a bit more sparkle and brightness. So you might feel a little lighter and more joyful compared to the last couple of days. This may give you some great insights, maybe some like bigger vision, like bigger picture views. This very enthusiastic and not afraid of failure here. So it's very positive and optimistic, is what I'm trying to say with Moon here in Sagittarius. We do have Moon trine Venus, so that's going to be, you see this, here's Venus over here in this blue, and there is a blue line between the two. And Venus has to do with relationships and connection. So you're going to feel like wanting to be around people. You're going to want to feel like having some really nice times with them. Maybe you're going to be uplifting others, supporting others, giving people hope for the future. That's something that Sagittarius is really great at. So providing a more positive outlook rather than the doomsday outlook. So and maybe just desire to like beautify your space or your home, things like that too. We do have the Jupiter in opposition to the moon. This is usually, remember, red ones are kind of rough, but this one not too much. You know, the Jupiter is a benefic and it's going to bring lots of luck and optimism. And the fact that the moon is in Sagittarius, this I feel like is only going to enhance those good feelings and wanting to share those good feelings with others too. Um, the only possible difficulty thing here for this day could be, other than, you know, our usual like Mars and Uranus over here, but there is a square happening. Okay. There's a square happening between Mercury and Mars, and even Mercury and Uranus. So that explosive energies here, that sudden, like unexpected, unpredictable change. This this is affecting our communication. It's so you might want to be careful about what you say and who you say to, because it could be very biting and sharp and more on the attack. So again, like hold your tongue. If you have those strong feelings, find an outlet somewhere else first before you have that conversation. But this would probably not be the time to have crucial conversations, hard conversations with people, because you might be kind of drunk with like rage or rebellion or things like that. So I would take it easy here on like on those conversations, okay? On the tough conversations. So go for a walk first. Okay, so that's Wednesday. Let's take a look at Thursday. This one is going to be a little bit of an easier day. Our moon is still in Sagittarius and it's in trine Mercury. So this is a better day. Mm, it's better to have those conversations, but you still do see that there is this square between Mercury and that Uranus and Mars situation here. But maybe between like your own personal thoughts and feelings, there's gonna be a little bit more harmony going on there. We have Moon square Saturn. So this could bring a little bit of like feeling lonely, feeling a little isolated too, a little down. Um, and then we have next Venus in sextile to Jupiter. So we have Venus here and then Jupiter here. That will bring a bit like easier feelings too. So when you kind of look at the whole thing, it's going to be a lot lighter. I feel like the tension is going to release a little bit more on Thursday. Not completely, but it's a lot lighter than what it has been. Let's take a look at Friday. Friday is on the 19th. The moon moves into Capricorn on this day. So this is a totally different experience than the lighter, sparkly Sagittarius. Capricorn is an earth sign. So there's going to be a bit more like practicality and just being a bit more grounded and more taking care of important matters as well, taking care of responsibilities and duties and obligations. So this would be more the time to, with Moon being here, you can have the company of more serious people. You're going to want to be around more serious people. So just to give you an idea. Okay. Now, on this day, we're on Friday. The main aspect to probably mention is that the moon and Neptune, they have a square going on. That's not too, oh, never mind. This might not be super fun day. Um, yeah, so there could be some confusion and delusion. So just make sure, like your feelings may not be accurate to the situation and the circumstances. So, this week is not a big decision week, okay? It's not a big decision week. How about that? I'll leave it with that. On Saturday, we do have moon still in Capricorn. So you're going to feel a bit calmer and grounded compared to like when the moon is in that fire sign of Sagittarius. And it's also trining Saturn. So this is a good take care of important responsibilities day. You were seeing that theme happening quite a bit right now. And I think we need that, with all of the change and the intensity, like there needs to be a part of us that can handle it. Like let's, like be in the eye of the storm and do what we need to do. I mean, we're not making, long-term massive like life decisions right now, but with the current crises that is happening around us, or just change is a very stressful event, a major change at that. And so we need to make sure that, okay, like a doctor in ER and dealing with a patient with trauma, like first we need to do this, first we need to do that. We're not thinking about long term at that moment, right? We're thinking about how do we take care of what's most important to stabilize this person. And so in amidst the change, we need to find ways to stabilize ourselves. And that's what I like about, having like Saturn sextile the moon in Capricorn amidst all of this activity. We can we can we can be very careful and responsible and make sure that things don't get carried away or go down in the wrong direction. So okay, very good. Now Sunday is full moon, but the full moon, keep this in mind, it happens in the like middle of the night. So it happens at 5:17 Central Time. So that's going to be around 3:17 in a Pacific time. So it's happening in the middle of the night essentially. So I do recommend to do any full moon practices if you have any rituals, do it on Saturday night while the moon is in Capricorn. And then in the middle of the night or the wee hours of the morning, Eastern time will be 6 in the morning is when they're going to meet. It's going to be at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So in this full moon season, with Capricorn, this is like the height of what we've planted in the new moon cycle. And I like the groundedness here. I like the groundedness of Capricorn. I like the practicality of Capricorn. So if there are some tweaks we need to do, like we're here to take care of those tweaks essentially. Um, Okay, so the moon has a lot of conversations on this day. Do you see all these lines like coming to the moon? A ton of lines coming to the moon. And most of them are very, very positive. Most of them are very positive. Like we've got a lot of sextiles, we've got a lot of trines. But let's talk about some of the trines. We've got Mars and Uranus. So that intense energy that we talked about, they have separated a bit. look at where it is. We have Uranus at 26 degrees of Taurus, and then we have Mars at 0 degrees of Gemini. So there is some separation now. So we get to have, this beautiful evolution that comes from Uranus supporting our moon. Okay. And then we have ambition and drive and vitality and willpower to do what we need to do the important things, the important matters of life right now, the critical things actually that maybe some of us have ignored or put aside. So we're going to have the support of Mars and Uranus here. And then we have the sextile between Neptune and the moon as well. So that is going to bring a lot of sensitivity. You're going to be very sensitive to yourself and to others, and this heightens our creativity and imagination. This is going to increase your intuition as well. So you're going to have, again, like really great insights that you've been waiting to receive. And then you have the opposition between sun and moon, obviously, because it's a full moon. That means when it's a full moon, you're going to see sun on one side and moon on the other. But this is going to bring a lot of vitality. Why is there an E in the middle of this? But this is going to bring some vitality to you. Full moon time usually, especially those of us who are very sensitive and empaths, it's a bit more young. The moon is very bright, right? So there's a bit more light, more energy, more young energy available to us. So you're probably going to feel quite strong and vital. And that's the thing with Capricorn. Capricorn is strong. Like it can handle the hard. And that's the cool thing about this week is that we do have the strength and the power and the endurance to handle everything that is happening. I was just listening to the news, like one of Houston's a newscast. I don't live there, but there's been this hurricane that's been coming through, right? Hurricane Beryl, and to listen to the city and all of the like officials, the public officials there, all of the emergency crew, and just like how they organized their team and the boats they have ready if they need to do rescue missions, like they're very prepared. They've had a lot of experience, in the past, but to see them just organize and get prepped and know how to handle like as best as they can, obviously, but they have a lot of wisdom and experience, is my point. And that's the thing with Capricorn. Like Capricorn is authoritative, it's masterful in its ways. And so it was really amazing to watch them organize themselves and to send out all the text messages and the alerts and letting everybody know and get all the information out there, all the important information, make sure that people who could be compromised or they need like constant energy because they're on some sort of machines or equipments that need electricity, like how to prepare for that. I mean, they just thought of every little detail, is my point. And so to give a long example, like that's what I like about this is that okay, we know that change, crises, transformation is here and coming. And so now we need to put all of our ducks in a row and make sure we have all the details we need and handle everything that we need to handle. Like it's someone who can be grounded too within the crisis and also very responsible and protective and taking care of every detail. So that's what I like. That's what I appreciate about the support that we have within us from the energies of this week, in addition to all of the chaos, possible chaos. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope that this was helpful for you. And please do comment below how you're feeling about this week and how you're going to be safe. Please let me know that you're going to be safe this week and just slow down. That because the energies are going to make us move fast and want to be impulsive maybe and want to be spontaneous. But let's just take it down a notch and remember that we need to be cautious too. And that we want to be cautious for a bit. I would, even into next week, I'm gonna say this again in the next week's forecast, but definitely today, as if you're listening on a Monday and for the whole week. All right. Well, thank you so much. Make sure to like and subscribe and ring that bell so that you can be notified whenever a new video is up. And if I forgot to say, my name's Desiree. I just got so excited to share this, but I'm Desiree De Lune, and I'm so grateful that you were here to listen to these forecasts. I am thoroughly enjoying them, and I will see you for the next one. All right, bye bye.